coming on the air with what is going down literally on Wall Street today, with the Dow just closing the lowest it's been this year, the lowest since 2020, and basically the bummer cherry on top of a long week cake. Okay, just ahead, why our team says the markets are in crisis. And after leaving behind chaos in the Caribbean, you've got Hurricane Fiona, now a Category 4, headed straight to Canada, where it might be the strongest storm they've ever seen because of, you guessed it, climate change. We're on the ground with folks getting ready for the worst. Plus, a new report shows people are going back into the office, but not nearly as often as they did before the pandemic. So is this the moment of reckoning over the future of work? And in our original, environmental activists being hunted down for trying to tell the world about deforestation in the Amazon. Why this has now caught the attention of the U.S. military. We'll bring our groundbreaking reporting from Peru on the hunt for green blood. And in tonight's backstory, we get the inside scoop on the so-called blackout with the Washington Post reporter behind the story on why black coaches are being denied head coaching jobs in the NFL. Hey, I'm Hallie, and if you've been watching the markets this week, and you've been watching them like this, maybe keep your hands over your eyes, okay? Because the markets are flirting with bear territory, with more predictions today about a possible recession. So what does it mean for your money? Here we go. Start with the Dow, okay? Closing at a new low this year. It's only the second time it's been in a bear market since the Great Recession, and the lowest it's been since November 2020. The S&P and NASDAQ also down more than 1.5% today. Why? Remember what the Fed did a couple days ago. They hiked interest rates. Plus, there's stubborn inflation, and that is making the markets nervous. How nervous? A new CNBC survey of economists and strategists shows they think there's a better than 50% chance the U.S. could dip into a recession within the next year, and that is trickling down beyond the markets to everybody's lives at home, all of our lives. Do you get that new car now? Do you wait? Do you go on that vacation you've been planning? Or do you save every extra penny starting ASAP? Joining me now is Frank Holland with CNBC. So, Frank, what happened today? Why are you saying these markets are in crisis here? Help us understand it.
Well, I mean, we can say crisis, we can say turmoil, you can pick your term here, but the Dow entering so-called bear market territory is really another difficult day on Wall Street. The blue chip Dow losing almost 500 points and just falling lower. The S&P and the NASDAQ both finishing 1.5% lower, and this is the fifth negative week in the last six that we've seen a slide, as you mentioned, largely caused by the Fed raising interest rates in an effort to reduce inflation and slow down the economy without causing a recession. What we're seeing in the markets today is a lot of skepticism that the Fed's plan will work. And recent comments from the CEO of FedEx saying that he's seeing a slowdown in manufacturing and other industries tied to consumer spending, just fueling the worries that we're seeing all around the world, and especially here in the U.S. And, of course, those rising interest rates making homes, automobiles, and other large consumer purchases more expensive than they were at the start of the year, and making a lot of people say, hey, should I buy that, or should I maybe wait and hold on to my money?
We say it all the time here on this show. The markets are not the economy, right? But we are seeing it all tied together. I think it's hard not to miss the news of what has happened in the markets, even just this week alone. And now the way we're putting into the broader landscape, the lowest the Dow's closed since November of 2020, right? How are people supposed to think financially about their own money with so much uncertainty right now in the market?
Well, first and foremost, when we're talking this bear market territory, these are Wall Street terms, as you mentioned. Some people see that 20% drop as what a bear market or bear market territory represents as being arbitrary. The real thing you want to pay attention to, this is a dramatic fall from highs of within this last year. So when you see something like this, it can often be a warning signal for a larger recession. One of the times we saw this as a warning signal was the Great Recession, where we saw a bear market for 17 months as the economy largely crashed due to the subprime mortgage crisis. Much different climate with near historic low unemployment, but obviously a lot of concerns if you have your 401k or you have other financial decisions to make.
Have there been bear markets that haven't triggered a recession, or we haven't seen a recession after?
Not in recent history, but again, it's kind of an arbitrary term. It's really that 20% drop, but it's often just a signal for very difficult economic times going forward.
Frank Holland from CNBC, thank you so much for being on top of this one. I bet we're talking again Monday. Thanks. It's about to get really real for people in Canada who are bracing for a history-making storm, potentially, that the Hurricane Center says will have a massive impact for hundreds of miles along the Atlantic coast. You've got Hurricane Fiona. Look at this, strengthening back up to a Category 4 hurricane. Category 4, 130-mile-an-hour winds, set to hit land sometime overnight. Our team at NBC says Fiona could also set a record for lowest pressure ever recorded. And here's why that's a big deal, because the lower the pressure, the stronger the storm and the stronger the wind. It says Fiona is also leaving behind a path of destruction in Bermuda, hit just this morning, where 18,000 people still do not have power. And look at this just wild video from inside Fiona out in the Atlantic. So this is shot from what's called a sail drone. That's like a drone that basically sits on the water. These are massive waves, guys, 50 feet tall, 100-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Big picture. All of what we're seeing may only keep getting worse because of climate change. The water in the North Atlantic is getting warmer faster than any other big body of water in the world. Warmer waters, stronger storms. We've got it all covered, and I want to start with Maggie Vespa, who was live for us in Canada, where they are talking power outages, damage to buildings, flooding like they have never seen before.
Yeah, Hallie, exactly. You know, you and I have been talking throughout the day. I don't know if you can see it or hear it, but we can definitely feel it. The rain is getting stronger. The wind is blowing harder. I mean, basically, the effects of Fiona are intensifying in real time. And again, we've been telling you about the precautions the city is taking. We have public transit, this ferry headed toward us, making their final routes of the evening. That's expected to shut down again. That's public transit here at 8 o'clock tonight. Also, this boardwalk here along the Halifax shoreline, completely empty. Officials shutting that down for the first time. One woman told us that she could ever remember. Frankly, people here say they've been through coastal storms, they've been through hurricanes, but they are really scared. Listen to what the mayor told us earlier today.
People who are scared are smart, and we hope that it doesn't come to the most extreme, but we bloody well need to be ready for it to be that.
So again, Hallie, as you said, they're expecting power outages, building damage. People have been stocking up on generators, bottled water, non-perishables. The mayor saying a lot of people expecting to be without power in their homes for 2 or 3 days, potentially at least. Hallie.
I know one of the folks at the Canadian Hurricane Center today said this storm could be bigger than Juan in 2003, which was deadly, killed 8 people, and stronger than Dorian just a few years ago, which left 500,000 people with no power. And it's happening in the place with the fastest warming waters in the world.
Yeah, that's an alarming trend. And the mayor pointing out, he said, you know, he's from Halifax and he's been mayor of this city for about a decade. And he said, you know, we've seen hurricanes come our way before, but historically, as you're pointing out, they've always weakened as they've come north because the water has been cold, and that just effectively weakens the hurricane as it approaches the northeast, the U.S. coast, and then moves its way up into Canada. But that's no longer the case anymore. The waters here are warming quickly. And frankly, the mayor said what's really scary is that this is becoming the new normal. Hallie, I'll send it back to you.
Maggie Vespa, stay safe, stay dry as much as you can tonight and tomorrow. Appreciate it. Morgan Chesky is posted up in Bermuda for us, where people are now, Morgan, picking up the pieces from Fiona. I can hear sirens behind you. The weather looks decent, but the recovery is just beginning.
Yeah, Hallie, you're absolutely right. Although it is interesting. We have had several ambulances go past us throughout the day. We have learned that one of those trips was a result of a generator fire. Someone who had lost power then misran a generator, causing it to catch fire. A minor injury there. Outside of that, though, I have had a chance to speak to the Minister of National Security here in Bermuda, and he tells me that on this island of about 60,000 people, there is scattered damage, and he went so far as to say maybe the roofs of 4 or 5 homes were damaged. Outside of that, he has not noted any significant damage to the island. We do know that power outages still remain at this hour, but no one was hurt. And I think that's very important to say as a result of this glancing blow from Fiona that happened early this morning, more than 100 miles off the coast. Still, we witnessed the damage of those powerful winds, snapping power poles in the community of St. George's, where we've been located over the past 72 hours. And I think that a lot of people here saw what happened in Puerto Rico, saw what happened in the Dominican Republic and Turks and Caicos, and they did feel for a moment that they might be next on that list. Fortunately, Fiona stuck to that track to the west, but even this glancing blow really surprised a lot of people as to the extent of the power this hurricane had when it roared through. We're still getting a little bit of rain as it makes its way north to where Maggie is, but as of right now, it's just a good reminder, at least people here telling me, that they never take any storm lightly, no matter where it is.
That's right.
Hallie?
That's right. Morgan Chesky, that is good advice, no matter the location. Thank you. To Michelle Grossman now, who's watching all of this for us and the track. We know Canada is in the sort of bullseye of this storm for the next 24 hours, but we've also just learned the governor of Florida is issuing states of emergency down there for a storm that doesn't even have a name yet. What's up with that?
That's right. Yeah. So we'll start with Fiona and then we'll get to Tropical Depression 9 because that's going to be a big story throughout next week. First with Fiona, it's a big storm. It's a strong storm and it's going to cause a lot of damage, as Maggie had mentioned. We're looking at really strong winds at 130 miles per hour. Those are sustained, though, 125 miles per hour now. Those are sustained, but they're gusting higher than that. It's moving fast at 40 miles per hour, expecting to make landfall as early as tomorrow morning. But you saw with Maggie, we're seeing the impacts already. We're going to see really heavy rainfall, even 10 inches in some spots. The winds are going to be a problem. Even by tomorrow, seeing winds gusting up to 109. We have to remember it's the first full day of fall. We still have lots of leaves on the trees. Power lines are going to come down. Trees are going to come down. Easier to come down with those leaves on there. And that's going to create some power outages, many as we go throughout the day. Now let's switch over to Tropical Depression 9. Still does not have a name, but it does have that closed low. Don't be deceived because this is going to be a big storm over the next several days. Most likely becoming Hurricane Ian. Right now, we're seeing winds at 35 miles per hour. It's moving northwest at 15 miles per hour. It's moving through the Caribbean. Really, really warm waters, bath warm waters. And the Gulf is really warm, too, with temperatures in the mid-80s, some in the upper 80s. So that's going to help strengthen the storm. And look what happens as we go throughout time here. We're looking at the track most likely impacting portions of the southeast, most likely impacting portions of the west coast of Florida. It's been 5 years since we've seen a hurricane there. So by Monday, becoming a Cat 1 storm, and we do expect a major hurricane as we head throughout the next couple of days. Now, as of the latest advisory at 5 o'clock, we're seeing this downgraded to a tropical storm, but just an hour ago, they had this at a Cat 3 storm. So we have to watch this closely. It is the weekend. Hopefully, most of us have off. We need to prepare for this now. And as we go throughout Wednesday, we're going to see either a tropical storm or a hurricane there. Hallie?
Michelle Grossman, thank you for that. And I know we will be talking again next week, too. Appreciate it. To Ukraine now, where Ukrainians in 4 Russian-occupied territories are being forced to be a part of sham referendums on whether they should join Russia. And again, it's voting that's already been deemed staged, right? People don't think it's real. The U.S., Kyiv, Western allies, they all think this is really just a mess, frankly. It's coming as a new UN investigation out today found that Russian troops have raped and tortured children in Ukraine. Horrific potential evidence of war crimes. That Russian troops have also carried out a large number of executions. Russia denies it, even defending some of its conduct since the start of the war. It's coming as in Russia, they're walking back that big announcement from Vladimir Putin, calling on more people to fight. The defense ministry is now saying men working in banking, IT, or telecoms are not going to have to be called up into the military to fight after all. Here's Erin McLaughlin with more.
Hey, Hallie. Well, Ukrainians living in these occupied areas where the referendum is now underway are absolutely terrified. We were messaging with one man living in an occupied area who said he's so scared he can feel the fear in his bones. He said it's the equivalent to a nuclear strike because not only is he concerned that his home is about to be annexed by the Russian Federation, but he's also concerned that if he becomes a Russian citizen, he could then become a part of Vladimir Putin's so-called partial mobilization and forced to fight against his own country. In his words, it is the worst case scenario for him. He said that with the referendum now underway, there are reports that Russian soldiers are going door to door with ballot boxes, collecting ballots. He said he hadn't seen that so far. In his case, he did see, though, a mobile unit out on the streets. People are going up, casting their ballots with Russian soldiers armed, present. He said that it's very clear that this is all happening with people under duress. And that is very much in line with Ukrainian and U.S. assessments that this is a sham referendum. It's basically an excuse for Russian President Vladimir Putin to annex these areas. And in the words of one Ukrainian official, essentially burn all bridges behind him, compelling him to continue with this brutal war, in their view, to try and get the West to back off its support, to back off sending weapons to Ukraine. Ukrainian officials say, though, they do not believe this is going to work, Hallie.
Erin McLaughlin reporting for us there from Ukraine. Today, the U.S. announcing new steps to try to get Iranians more internet after the government shut it down because of protests over the death of a young woman, Mahsa Amini, in police custody. She was taken in for allegedly violating the country's dress code. So now the U.S. is saying tech firms will be able to give more digital services to people in Iran, from stuff like cloud computing to more security, more privacy. These demonstrations have turned deadly. 26 people so far have been killed, and we are still seeing Iranians storm the streets. We're also now seeing people defending the government, a few thousand attending a rally in Tehran, with the government saying the demonstrators were spontaneous, right? Saying that it was a show of spontaneity. Hallie is in Tehran and joins us now. Hallie, some of these images have been extraordinary that we've seen. There has been the situation of the internet, and I spoke with somebody today who suggested that could get worse in the days to come. What's happening now, and what comes next in terms of accountability for Amini's family?
Hey, Hallie. Well, the internet is all but down. It's barely working. I mean, you can't access search engines. All social media and messaging apps are blocked. And most importantly for the authorities, people can't communicate to try and mobilize or upload videos of the rolling crackdowns, which they really don't want people to get out. And there are still large crowds protesting across the country, but we're seeing much less video being put out by them. And Hallie, this is straight out of the Islamic Republic's playbook. During times of unrest, they pull the plug on the internet. You'll remember in 2009, there were mass protests over the gasoline hike in this country. The government enforced a 10-day internet blackout. During that period, there was a lot of people killed and no images got out. But this time, the U.S. wants to help. Secretary Blinken tweeted that they took action today to advance the internet freedom and the free flow of information for Iranians, to provide people with greater access to digital communication, to counter the Iranian government censorship. And under Secretary Blinken's tweet, Elon Musk tweeted, activating Starlink over Iran. And as for Mahsa Amini's family, it's really unlikely that they're going to get any accountability or any closure. People within the system are rarely held to account here, Hallie. You'll recall after Qasem Soleimani was killed in 2020, tensions were boiling with the U.S. Yeah. The Iranians shot down a Ukrainian passenger plane taking off from Tehran airport. They killed 167 people on board. Everybody on board, not a single person has been held to account for that tragedy. And going to Amini's family, it's going to be a very, very sad path for them. Today, the country's interior minister said that after conducting the early stages of an investigation into Amini's death, it was clear that she wasn't beaten.
Hallie, it's so important to have you there, bringing us that reporting from on the ground in Tehran. Thank you so much for being there. Back here at home, Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, who's been under investigation for a couple of years now about an alleged sexual relationship with a 17-year-old girl and potential sex trafficking. Turns out he may not end up facing any charges at all, according to the Washington Post, which says prosecutors are recommending that Gaetz not be charged, partly because of what they say are credibility issues with the two main witnesses. A lawyer for Gaetz tells CNBC that when she hears from the DOJ, she'll be happy to talk. The DOJ so far declining to comment. We should note Gaetz has repeatedly denied any wrongdoing. Joining us now here is Ken Delaney. And so, Ken, it doesn't often happen that when prosecutors recommend something to the DOJ, they don't follow what prosecutors say, right? So it seems pretty likely, if this reporting holds up, that Gaetz is not going to be charged.
That's very true, Hallie. And what the career prosecutors apparently are saying is that there are some problems with some of these witnesses, not that they don't believe them, but that they're worried a jury might not believe them. And they haven't really said what the issue was with the woman in the case, who was apparently 17 when she met Congressman Gaetz.
And she's one of the witnesses they're talking about.
She's one of the witnesses, exactly. But the other witnesses is a guy named Joel Greenberg,
right,
who pleaded guilty to a lot of crimes and cut a deal with prosecutors.
Kind of a buddy of Gaetz, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it turns out that one of the things he admitted to is accusing another person of sexual misconduct. And so it seems like there was some thought that maybe it's a little too similar to what he's accusing Gaetz of, and maybe that wouldn't be credible to a jury. These kinds of things happen, but after so long investigating this, you got to believe this was a tough decision for career prosecutors.
When might we know, like on the record, when might there be some sort of filing or whatever, or will we never know because that's how these things work?
It's actually very rare that the DOJ publicly announces they've declined to prosecute somebody. In this case, they might, because it's so high profile, or they may just tell Gaetz' lawyers, in which case he would announce it. But they generally just don't like to talk about these secret investigations.
Ken Delaney, and super interesting. Thank you so much for that. Sticking with politics here, the midterm battle tonight, ideological lines officially drawn now, right? As the race to the midterms turns into a full-on sprint. Abortion and women's rights, the economy, crime, the Trump factor, all front and center today. Look what's happening tonight. You've got the former president holding a campaign rally. This is the first time he's doing something like this since the DOJ was given the green light to start looking through those classified documents found at Mar-a-Lago. Well, President Biden, the current president today, got kind of spicy, laying out a real sharp case against MAGA Republicans, as he calls them, on everything from January 6th to election integrity, from abortion to encouraging people to vote.
In just 46 days, democracy will be on the ballot. Rejecting the will of the people and accepting the results of a fair and free election is what we're about, not what they're about.
On the other side of the aisle, you've got Republicans laying out what they call the Commitment to America agenda, what House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy thinks could be the big winner for them to try to get them to take over the House in November and then put this agenda in place moving forward. Listen to some of what they've talked about.
We're going to repeal 87,000 IRS agents. We should ensure women only compete in women's sports.
We see crime skyrocketing. That is a direct result of Democrats' one-party defund the police policies and rhetoric.
A House Republican majority will not be afraid to hold China accountable.
Joining me now is Vaughn Hilliard, live from North Carolina. And Vaughn, today feels like a good example of a day of tell me we're getting close to the midterms without telling me we're getting close to the midterms, because you had Democrats and Republicans very clearly laying out where they are on the political spectrum, ideologically almost entirely opposed.
We're in it, Hallie, here. Donald Trump is holding a rally in Wilmington, North Carolina. The guy over my right shoulder is Ted Budd, the Republican candidate for the Senate here in North Carolina, and what will be one of many closely contested battles around the country here. And you said it, both sides here are laying down, when we're talking about policy here, I think the Senate race here is actually even a good example of what Joe Biden and Kevin McCarthy were talking about today. Ted Budd is focusing on crime in North Carolina cities. He's focusing on inflation, yet at the same time campaigning alongside Donald Trump. Ted Budd, he's currently a member of the U.S. House. He voted at Donald Trump's will to object to Joe Biden's win in the 2020 election. But then on the other side, you've got the Democrat, Sherry Beasley, who is a former Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court. And she says, look, I have worked my entire life to uphold justice, just notably being the Chief Justice of the North Carolina Supreme Court. But she's been out in the exurbs of some of these communities like Charlotte, Raleigh, Greensboro, focusing on abortion, trying to win over some of those more independent or even Republican women, especially, saying that I am pro-reproductive rights, and it is worth in this election more than ever to come over and vote for the Democrat here at the federal level, Hallie.
One of the key things, Vaughn, as you are there now live at this rally from former President Trump, has been, and one of the things we're watching, the intensification of his embrace of QAnon conspiracy theories. We saw that today as he went kind of above and beyond in reposting some of those extremist views. Again, like made up stuff, right, on his platform. Some of it compared him to like religious figures. He still has a big impact on his base here who believe a lot of what he says.
Right. We have to be very forward about what Donald Trump's embrace here over the last weeks of QAnon means here. This is a movement that was very much fringe, pushed to the side. Even folks at Trump rallies, the Trump staff used to not allow people to wear Q material here at the rallies. That's not the case anymore. And he is using... Yeah.
But I got to tell people what it is. I mean, the conspiracy theory is based on the belief that satanic pedophiles who eat children are being pulled on puppet strings to secretly run the government. I mean, that's what the core of this bananas theory is.
This is not hyperbole. These people believe Donald Trump is the leader that is going to come using the U.S. military and reclaim power, not only here in the United States, but going to mass arrest Democrats, government officials, Hollywood figures, other elites, imprison them, and then go as far as executing them. And we were out here earlier this afternoon, Hallie, asking random folks to what extent they believe these things, and individual after individual told us and repeated those very wild claims, and they believe that Donald Trump, over the last couple of weeks, has embraced the movement unlike at any time before. This is serious. He is still very much the leader of this Republican Party, and you saw Mehmet Oz in Pennsylvania, J.D. Vance in Ohio over the last 2 weeks stand on side alongside Donald Trump. You got Ted Budd here in North Carolina. He's going to Michigan next week. This is still very much a Republican Party that is willing to stand on stage with him, a man who at the same time is embracing the very, very fringe of his party. This is a very dangerous path, and one that is encompassing individuals and lifting them up at a time that could lead to violence, at a time that we're just 45 days away from a very important midterm election, Hallie.
Vaughn Hilliard, it's important reporting live for us there on the campaign trail. Vaughn, thank you. Coming up, we are just getting a statement in now from the fiance of the Boston Celtics coach, who was just suspended over what's being called an improper relationship on the job. We're going to have all that coming up. Plus, the Super Bowl halftime show has a new sponsor, and that news made fans of one pop star go nuts online. That's in our 5 things. A guy looking for a bargain at an estate sale ended up with a piece of history. We've got that story in a couple minutes in our 5 things. But first, another big disciplinary issue inside the NBA developing now as the league gets ready to start its season. First, an owner suspended over a pattern of disturbing workplace conduct. And now, a top coach for an improper relationship. Right as we came on the air, we heard from the fiance of head coach Ime Udoka of the Boston Celtics, who was suspended for the entire season last night. In a statement, actress Nia Long is asking for privacy during what she calls this difficult time. The Celtics say Udoka violated team policies, with the team owner saying today they're doing their best to uphold what he described as the Celtics' strong values.
I personally feel that this is well warranted and appropriate, backed by substantial research and evidence and facts.
Reports say Udoka was having consensual and intimate relationship with a female member of the team staff. In a statement to ESPN, he apologized and said he accepted the team's decision. And listen, this is significant, right? Because the Celtics are an iconic sports franchise. They went to the NBA Finals last year. They're one of the favorites to win it all this season. Stephanie Gosk is joining us now. Steph, what are the details that we know of this, and what happens next in this investigation, this suspension?
Well, you know, Hallie, this is really interesting in part because what we're learning is from some media reports. Places like ESPN have some sources that are providing them information. None of those details are coming from the team itself. The team basically just came out with a statement that said that they were suspending Udoka for a year and that he violated their policies. And like you point out, this is a coach who took them to the NBA Finals. It was his first year with the team as a head coach, a rookie head coach. And now suddenly he's benched for the year. There are a lot of details we don't know. What we have heard from ESPN and a couple of other outlets is that there was this consensual relationship. We now know, talking to or hearing from the management of the team, that they launched an investigation over the summer starting in July. The results of that investigation came out just a couple of days ago, and that's when they took this fairly extraordinary step.
When you look big picture, Steph, and you know this well because you've covered it, other leagues, the NBA, there have been some scandals, et cetera. But the Celtics owner says this particular issue with Udoka is not part of a broader culture problem. There are some questions over whether the punishment was too severe, over the consequences here.
Right, because all we know is this report from an anonymous source that says it was a consensual relationship. But this is a significant penalty. There were a lot of people saying, this seems like it's too big. How could this possibly fit the crime of a consensual relationship with a female colleague? But you heard management today from the Celtics calling this appropriate, and it really does allude to the fact that there are details we just don't know. But you are also looking at a league that is saying to itself, we need to right this ship and make sure we're on a course that has the values that we want to embrace and that our fans want us to embrace going forward.
Glad you're on top of it. Let's get you over to the 5 things. Theorist Alex Jones, guess what? He was not on the stand and he was going to be. Why not? His lawyers super combative yesterday. Remember, we told you about that next week. He's already been found liable for defamation. Trial now is to figure out how much money he should pay to victims for spreading. Number 2, British novelist Hilary Mantel has died. HarperCollins. The award-winning author is known for her huge historical fiction novel Wolf Hall, and then, of course, its sequels. Her publisher called her one of the greatest English novelists of this century. Number 3, the NFL says Pepsi is getting replaced as the new Super Bowl halftime show sponsor. by Apple Music. It's a 5-year deal, $50 million a year, according to the Sports Business Journal. So do you have any guesses on who the performer could be? Some people thought it might have been Taylor Swift because the NFL's announcement came at midnight. Her new album is going to be called Midnight. I don't know. Is there something there? Is it speculation? We will wait and see. Number 4, tennis legend Roger Federer is playing his last pro match today, doubles match at the Laver Cup in London. And he's playing alongside his longtime rival and friend, Rafael Nadal. Federer has won 20 Grand Slam titles in his career. This is a moment for tennis right now. First Serena, then Federer. Number 5, a man in Maine who was just looking for a nice estate sale bargain ended up with a treasure instead. Look at what he found. It's a piece of parchment that academics say is 700 years old. It's part of a prayer book used in medieval France. The guy bought it for $75. Do you know how much it's worth, maybe? 10 grand. That's not a bad return on that investment. Still to come. More of us, more workers are back in offices, but we are still nowhere near pre-pandemic levels. And one of the world's biggest companies has some advice you may find surprising for the office. That's next. NASA's been trying to launch that new Artemis rocket for weeks now, and it looks like this next attempt might end up delayed also. We've got that later on in the local. But first, today, some new numbers are out showing more people are going back to the office in person. And while it is more people than this time last year, it's still not nearly as much as it was pre-pandemic. If you work in an office, just look around. You are probably living these numbers you see on the screen here. About 47% of workers in cities across the country are going in person compared to pre-pandemic. But there's still this tension, right, between employers, companies who want people back, and the workers who want their flexibility. Some organizations also have questions about how productive people actually are while working from home. And now Microsoft has some advice for managers. Don't spy on people. It's coming out of a new survey they just ran where they found that most managers, 80% plus, worry that they can't tell if their employees are getting enough work done. Jake Ward is joining us now. And Jake, let's start with the fact that this week more people came back to the office. I assume the big factors driving that are it's back to school season. COVID is potentially less of a concern in lots of places in the country.
That's right. I mean, we're looking here, Hallie, at, an enormous reordering of things. The pandemic just blew up our expectation of how things were supposed to work. We thought of handshakes and sometimes even hugs as, the sort of the new world of being together in an office. But suddenly we, transformed all of that. Now managers are reporting real trouble, and now suddenly there's this big pressure to bring people back. But yeah, as you mentioned, there are all these different strange, particular ideas. The idea that there's less access to work resources and equipment, less connection to an organization's culture, less collaboration. These are the things that people are reporting as challenges. But think about it this way. The senior corporate leadership at these companies, 85% of them are reporting that they do not feel that their workers are getting enough done. Meanwhile, 87% of people surveyed, this is according to a big Microsoft survey, those workers, 87% of those workers say we're getting done plenty. Right. Our work productivity is fine. So when the leadership and the workers are as divided on this thing as they are, it's really not clear where it's going to go, Hallie.
And the leadership is worried that, are their employees not getting enough done, right? Which is, you have 8 of the 10 biggest private employers tracking productivity metrics, according to the Times. Employee surveillance, this idea of it is really interesting. I got to be honest, Jake, I just assume that, our company knows what I ordered for dinner last night and my online shopping. I'm an open book, right? But that concept, they can see your Slacks, they can see your emails. How much are people really getting monitored to find out how productive they're being?
Well, certainly the potential to do that sort of monitoring is everywhere. I mean, the technology that you and I use to communicate at all times is both technologically and legally an open book to our employers. When you, type something into a work-owned laptop on a work-owned piece of software, that's it. They get to read all of that. And there are all sorts of services that offer companies the opportunity to find out what we're saying to one another, how often, we're in theory looking at our screens, typing into our screens. There are even services these days, Hallie, that actually look at the content of the conversation that you're having between workers and make suggestions on how to be a little cooler to your coworker or cooler to your customers, right? So we are in an intense age of corporate surveillance. How many of those companies are really going to be taking advantage of this as you get into the smaller kinds of companies? We don't know. But as you know, 8 of the 10 largest employers are doing something about it. But Microsoft, and this is the weird part, right? They're saying, don't do this, even though that company has experimented with it themselves. They just think it's going to blow up the relationship between and workers and their employers. And that seems to be a really important point here.
Stepping back, Jake, I mean, everything we've talked about this week, just look at this week alone, this return to work thing. We've covered the 4-day work week here that's happening, that study in the UK. As you know, I did the 4-day work week experiment this summer, felt just as productive. Like, this feels like this moment of reckoning around office culture. What is it? What does it look like? For, by the way, the people that have the privilege of going into the office or not, because there are plenty of workers who don't even have that option.
Well, I think that's right. And we have two pressures coming at us right now. One is the threat of a recession, which could change work entirely and make it such that the Great Resignation slows down. And the second is that, fewer and fewer people are walking off their jobs. That Great Resignation seems to be slowing down. So I think we're about to see things change. And the expectations that corporate leaders are going to have going into that change, I think, are very, very different than they were before the pandemic, Hallie.
Jake Ward, thank you for bringing that to us tonight. Good to see you. Coming up here on the show, environmental activists trying to protect the Amazon rainforest, they are being targeted. Our Cynthia McFadden went there to find out who's behind it and why for our original tonight. Plus, a school leader in Southern California calling what's happening there a crisis, what the district's now doing to try and stop kids from overdosing. We'll be right back. NBC News covers hundreds of stories every day, and because you couldn't possibly read or watch or listen to them all, our bureau teams have done it for you. This is what they tell us is going down in their regions in a segment we call The Local. From our West Coast Bureau, Los Angeles public school officials say all K-12 schools are going to be stocked with naloxone, known as Narcan, in the coming weeks. Why? Because it's a medicine that temporarily reverses the effect of an opioid overdose. Several students have OD'd in that district recently. One 15-year-old died. The superintendent there says they have an urgent crisis on their hands. The hope, obviously, is that this is going to help. From our Southeast Bureau, NASA says it is still planning to try to launch its new moon rocket Artemis 1 next week. But remember the tropical depression we told you about earlier in the show? It's moving toward Florida. That could delay this whole thing again. NASA says it'll make a final decision by tomorrow on whether to push the launch back. They may even take the rocket off the launch pad. That would be definitely a big delay. From our Northeast Bureau, a seal right here that's been living in a pond in Massachusetts recently turned itself into police this morning. This is Schubert the seal, named after the Shoe Pond where it is. Officials there think it got into this pond. It's not its home. They think they got there through a drain pipe. You'd had crews out there trying to catch the seal with no luck, but earlier today, Schubert got out of that pond and literally crossed a parking lot and went to the door of the local police station. The seal's been sent to an aquarium in Connecticut. For now, go say hi to Schubert. To tonight's original now, with in-depth reporting on a topic we've been keeping an eye on, and it's been called the hunt for green blood, the tracking and assassination of environmental activists trying to defend what's left of the world's rainforests. You probably remember some of these pictures that flashed around the world over the summer when a famous British journalist and an indigenous expert guide were murdered on a river inside Brazil's Amazon rainforest. And they're not the only ones. Around the world, 200 environmentalists were murdered in 2020. That's the highest number ever. Our Cynthia McFadden traveled to Peru's Amazon to learn more.
Deep in the Peruvian Amazon, in a region known as Madre de Dios, Mother of God, a massive gold rush is turning a once lush jungle into this, a hellish desert, speckled with toxic mercury-filled ponds.
How bad is it?
It's much worse than we had feared.
Luis Fernandez is one of the world's leading experts on mercury and its effects here.
Miners working under very difficult conditions using really primitive techniques have to somehow sift through tons of sediment to get those little flecks of gold.
But to collect just an ounce of gold, miners must separate it from nearly 30 tons of silt. To do it, they cut down the trees, dig deep into the earth, and flush the silt down a slide. But where's the gold?
To get that final step, where you want to separate the gold from the sand, you add mercury.
Mercury is poison, isn't it?
It is. It's poisonous to humans, to wildlife. It lasts for centuries.
All the mercury that is spreading.
Some of it touches the gold, but a lot of it doesn't. The rest of it is thrown back into the river, kind of like the baby with the bathwater. except that the baby is toxic.
In this area alone, more than 370,000 acres of forest have been lost to mining, affecting worldwide weather patterns, crop growth, and carbon emissions, and turning the once carbon-absorbing forest into a place pumping ever more carbon into the atmosphere. But the crisis is not only environmental. Those who fight back against the illegal mining, the conservationists, are being slaughtered at record rates. Over 200 environmental defenders were killed globally in 2020. In Peru, at least 14 have been killed in the last 2 years alone, the highest number ever. And the attempts on their lives keep on coming. We met up with 2 of them for their first ever U.S. network interview.
Oh, paradise.
Yes. We visit the home of one of Peru's fiercest environmental defenders, 75-year-old Victor Zambrano. His land now a private reserve.
Is it true that you personally have planted 20,000 trees?
30,000, and I keep planting them.
The recipient of many prestigious international awards, including a National Geographic grant, just days before we arrived, he tells us 2 men with silencers came to do him harm, but were scared off by a neighbor who saw them and screamed. With him the day we visit is Demetrio Pacheco, who knows only too well what the cost of protecting the land from the miners can mean.
This is very dangerous work you're doing.
In my case, I have already suffered the death of one of my children.
After several threats, his son, Roberto, was shot to death on land he and his father refused to allow miners to operate on.
I have a son. I can't imagine what this must have been like for you. You found him.
It was a very sad and fatal moment for me to have him so robust, so happy, and then to find him lying there on the road.
Pacheco tells us despite being identified, the suspects in his son's murder remain fugitives.
It's sort of open season on environmental defenders.
At this point in our lives, we don't have the choice. What might happen to us does not matter.
Fueling the illicit mining, which U.S. government officials tell us results in at least $3 billion worth of unaccounted for gold making its way into the worldwide market, are ruthless transnational organizations, cartels, paramilitary groups, some of whom are now making more from gold than from drugs. Zambrano says the criminal groups are so powerful and government corruption is so rampant, it is difficult to bring the situation under control.
We are the enemy, and that is why we receive death threats.
The men tell us they now technically have government protection, but call it meaningless.
A piece of paper against a bullet? What use is this paper?
The paper doesn't stop a bullet.
Instead, Zambrano has installed security cameras and tell us he's been offered $250,000 to stay quiet.
You're just 2 men on the front lines of what seems like a war financed by some very powerful people. Can you win?
That's what we hope for, to not falter. Because the forest is a benefit to mankind as a whole. It is not just for us. That's our hope.
I don't know if you're brave or foolish.
You may call us insane, crazy, but this is our conviction.
Cynthia McFadden is joining us now. Cynthia, it is incredible reporting, and I know that what has happened here has gotten the attention of the military here in the U.S., right? Explain that.
That's exactly right. Those transnational criminal groups, think paramilitary cartels, well, they're getting so powerful that the U.S. understands that they're a destabilizing force, and so Southcom is providing real-time satellite surveillance and other kinds of assistance to the Peruvian government and other governments in the region. These guys are so rich, Hallie, that they buy jets to transport their illicit wares, the gold and guns and even human beings, and then to cover their route, they burn those planes. That's rich. One of the things I think might come up for people when they're looking at these activists whose lives are in danger, you know, you're
you're sitting with them, Cynthia, you're walking with them, you're with them where they are. Can you, as much as you're comfortable, share a little bit more about like your own security there or the steps that you all took?
Yeah, there were. You know, happily, NBC News likes to not only get its people to places, they like to make sure they come back to. So we had a lot of hoops to jump through. This was a year in the making, in part because we wanted to make sure we had exactly the right team to go. And it was an experienced group that went. We did have security with us. We had an Israeli commando with us, retired, and another Peruvian officer who was armed. And there were a few dicey moments, which I'll share with you some night over a libation.
I'll get that on the books. Cynthia McFadden, I appreciate you. I appreciate your reporting. It is so important, and we're glad to be able to highlight it here on this show. Thanks, Cynthia.
Thank you.
You can watch Cynthia's special, Paradise Lost, The Weight of Gold, Tuesday, 10:30 Eastern, right here on NBC News Now. You are not going to want to miss it. When we come back, the backstory. And tonight, we're getting into a new Washington Post investigation all about how it's been harder for black coaches to get top coaching jobs in the NFL and to keep them. Stay with us. Time now to get the backstory, our behind-the-scenes look at how a story comes together and how it fits into our bigger picture. And tonight, we're looking at a new investigation from the Washington Post, taking a deep dive into something we know has been a big issue, how the NFL's hiring practices work against black coaches. Look at what's on your screen right now, however you're watching, your phone, your laptop, whatever. The pictures in red, those are all the black head coaches the NFL has hired. In the 33 years since Art Shell, the first black head coach, the NFL has had only 24 others. The Post compiled and analyzed 3 decades worth of data, speaking with 16 of those 24 living, current, and former NFL head coaches who identify as black. And in their reporting, they found black coaches perform just as well as white coaches, but have fewer chances to get the top coaching jobs, and they're held to a higher standard when it comes to keeping their job. They also found since 1990, black coaches have been twice as likely to get fired after leading a team to a regular season record of 500 or better, meaning a winning record. We reached out to the NFL for comment on this report, haven't heard back. The NFL did respond to the Washington Post, though, saying they don't make the hires, but they'll keep pushing forward with their programs and initiatives to make sure owners know what candidates are out there. Dave Shiner from the Washington Post was one of the people who worked on this investigation. Dave, we're really happy to have you here for this segment. It really is about pulling back the curtain to share more of how you actually did this reporting in the first place, and start with why now. Right? What was it about everything we've seen over this past year that made you and your team think, okay, we've got to do this big investigation now?
Yeah, I think the why now is the Brian Flores lawsuit. So Brian Flores was a coach for the Miami Dolphins, head coach, got fired, and in February he filed suit against the NFL claiming racial discrimination in hiring and firing practices. So that was the news hook that kind of got us underway. And then it becomes a matter of how are we best going to tell this story. And honestly, the best thing we did was go down 2 routes, one with the data, which, you know, is cold, raw data that's hard to sort of convey in a human way. But then we paired that with the videos of the coaches who did make it and put a human face on this story.
Talk about the human face, because very few people actually talked with you and your team. I know you contacted all 32 teams, tried to talk to all the owners. Only one of them actually agreed to talk to you. You try to get data. You talk about data from the NFL. They didn't give it to you. Like, how do you keep, you know, I think people find it interesting. How do you keep reporting in the face of hurdles like that?
Well, you know, we just push through and you take what you can get. The NFL was not forthcoming at all with the data. The owners were not forthcoming to get on the phone with us. That appears maybe that it is changing. I think the first piece that we've done here in this project, in this series, has brought some of them out. And we think we're going to be speaking more with some owners in the future as the rest of this project rolls out. So there's a lot more to come.
This was a team effort, right? This wasn't just like you solo. Talk about that, because there was traveling the country. You know, this was on the ground, sort of boots on the ground here, visiting teams, visiting facilities, et cetera. It was very collaborative.
It was, you know, I mean, I don't want to say it was a massive effort, but last time I looked, there were 65 people in our Slack channel at the Post. So, I mean,
that sounds massive to me, Dave. I don't know.
We're talking a dozen reporters or so who worked on it. We're talking a half dozen editors, graphics, data, video, photo, designers, the whole 9 yards. So it was very much a collaborative effort. My name wound up going first on the main story, but I can tell you that there was at least a dozen voices in that story, from colleagues of mine to even editors.
What do you want people's biggest takeaway to be, Dave, in just like a couple of sentences or less? You know, when you look at this and when you look at the numbers, despite what the NFL says about sort of publicly promoting this holistic approach to diversity.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest takeaway is that nothing has improved. We're 20 years. Yeah,
Dave,
the biggest takeaway.
Dave Sheinin. Oh. Dave, thank you. I think your audio dropped out right at the end there, but that is just a fascinating look at how a story comes together. We appreciate you pulling back the curtain and showing us how it actually happens. Thanks to you all, by the way, for being with us this hour. That is a wrap for us now. We're going to have more of you here Monday, same time, same place. Enjoy your weekend. Coverage picks up right now.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.